Were you the reason for the loss?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. Okay. I mean, we're a team. We're a team, and that's the way it goes. But, we're not a team like the Islanders, that's for sure. Holy mackerel. I mean, they go down there, and they just absolutely – and I wouldn't say that they stole – normally you say they would steal a game. A team would go, hey, let me go in. Let me see if we can get a team that's flat, and let's steal a game. That wasn't a stolen game last night. That was a shutdown game last night or yesterday afternoon. That's exactly what that was. And Matthew Barzal continues his hot streak, and what a feed for his goal yesterday, and the way they read the play, and Stamkos throws the puck to the middle of the ice, inexplicably trying to get off the ice, and Barzal does an unbelievable job. I mean, you got a guy draped all over you, and you got the best goaltender in the world. He opens up the 5-hole, and boom, goal, and next thing you know, the Islanders are off and running. And it was masterful. It was a great game plan. They played it to a T. They played physical. And by the way, Tampa Bay is physical as well. They'll come out hard in Game 2 tomorrow night. There's no question about that. This series is just getting started. But that was a great executed game by Barry Trotz and his Islanders. They were all over, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the other thing too is, they had more shots on goal than the Lightning did, which is like you don't expect that to happen. And then when you look, I always look at time of ice. You look at the balance that the Islanders have from top to bottom. And that means that everybody on that bench, that means that everybody that's in that uniform, whether you're on defense, whether you're on offense, a little bit different on defense because you got Noah Dobson. He's a rookie, so he doesn't play quite as much. And then Andy Green doesn't play as much as the other guys. But after that, everybody else is pretty much balanced throughout the lineup. Means everybody has skin in the game. There's nobody sitting on their ass not playing. And, that's the beauty of rolling 4-line hockey and keeping guys fresh. And a guy like Barzal, instead of playing 21 minutes, if he plays 15 minutes, you can see he has the explosion in his legs. So good for them. They're off to a great start. And unfortunately for the Brooklyn Nets, man, I said they were going to need all three. They would go 16-5. I said I still thought that they could do it if they have the big two. Now the question really comes is when is Harden coming back? And is he going to feel the pressure to come back for Game 5? Because I've done exactly what Kyrie Irving's done.
Well, I think anybody who's ever played basketball more than once in their life has probably done exactly that. It's just one of those things that happens, or the classic ankle roll. I mean, it always happens in basketball. And I mean, this was ugly, and apparently had the walking boot on and crutches and the whole thing, so he was severely affected by this. And as much as I don't want the Nets to win, even though I bet on them, I think I'd rather see them lose than win the money. I did not want to see this. I really did not. Because this now is like, I mean, come on. I mean, even if they now lose to the Bucks in the playoffs, it's not like, and the Knicks fans can gloat in any way. I mean, they just lost these guys due to injury. I mean, it's ridiculous. And Kevin Durant, it's amazing to me Kevin Durant's gone out of his way in his career to link up with multiple superstars in different places. When he went
especially after he left the Oklahoma City.
Right, yeah. Exactly. So he went to the Golden State Warriors and he joined that team. Then he ended up coming here with Kyrie Irving, and they added James Harden, and now he's all by himself. So here you go. You're all by yourself, and you don't have anybody really around you to help as far as the superstar variety. Let's see if he can get it done. I mean, because I don't think you're going to see either one of those guys the rest of this series. I'd be shocked. And James Harden can't come back from a hamstring injury too early. I mean, could he? I mean, you can't. That's not a thing like all of a sudden he's going to be like, Kyrie's out, I got to come back.
Yeah, he may feel the pressure. And I was reading Steve Nash's quotes about this, saying that we don't want to rush him back. We don't want to push him back, because we are worried about long-term problems here as opposed to the short-term fixes. But in regards to Kyrie, that to me is like a 10-week injury. That is a 10-week. You see him walking off the court, which is great, but that thing hadn't swollen up yet. The moment he takes that shoe off, that's why they put the boot on it.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure they had ice on it immediately. But, if you stretch your ligaments down there, there's nothing you can do. It's the only thing that can help you heal is time. He's not going to get a shot. There's really nothing you could do. So that's why maybe James Harden feels pressure and may want to push it, and they may tell him, look, we just need your offense out there. We just need your facilitating out there. We don't really need you to push it anywhere else. But I don't know how you go out on a court if you are 75% and think that you can still be effective. He's got to be 100%. Look, man, this thing turned on a dime.
Yeah.
On a dime. They should have won Game 3. They needed to win Game 3, but they had a bad shooting night in Game 3. And then Kevin Durant from three-point yesterday was 1 for 8.
Yep. I mean, this is the Nets all year, though, that they have not had those three guys play together. It's an injury. It's another injury. Guys are out, waiting for them to come back. So, I mean, for us thinking that in the playoffs they were going to sit there and be healthy for all these series in a row was probably a little bit naive, because here we are again, down to one.
It may not be until next year, until they win. Now, and again, it's just, if you're a Net fan, it's sad. I feel your pain, because we've been there. I've been there with my hockey team. We're knee deep into the playoffs, and all of a sudden a key guy gets hurt. Much like Casey Cizikas getting hurt last year for the Islanders in the bubbles against Tampa. So it really, a lot of this stuff is a war of attrition in the playoffs for both of these leagues. And right now, the Nets are losing that war, that part of the war.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this series is over at this point, even if those two guys don't come back. I don't look at the Milwaukee Bucks as some sort of juggernaut that now all of a sudden the door is open and they're going to burst through and not look back. I still think that the Nets and Kevin Durant are going to put up a fight. It's just that now, after these two guys got hurt, they're no longer favored, I think. I mean, as far as the series goes.
I know you know this because you're a basketball, you love the game, and you love watching it, you love the NBA, but, man, you don't realize just the little things that both Kyrie and James Harden do. I mean, that nobody else can replicate. I mean, and you can use all the cliches, all hands on deck. We all got to come together for each other. We got to take it one possession, one quarter at a time. You can use all those things. But, the NBA is a players' league. It is about talent. You have got to have talent. And that's why the Nets went out and put these three guys together, because they were supposed to make everybody else around them better and easier for them, in order to be support personnel. And now you're missing 2 out of 3 of those guys.
They still have the best player on the court, though, in this series.
I'm not saying they didn't. And he shot, like I said, 1 for 8 from 3-point yesterday.
And it makes it more difficult because everybody focuses on him. And it's all about stopping Kevin Durant. And then his job becomes exponentially harder. But they still have the best player on the court in this entire series. And I understand Giannis had his best game of the series yesterday, but I still think Kevin Durant's the most talented. It
was one of the most telltale things about yesterday's games. I mean, watching the Lightning and the Islanders, I mean, the Lightning fans were like, were they even in the game?
No, of course not.
I mean wait till they get to the Coliseum on Thursday night.
Well, that's one of the points going into this series that people would bring up was, it was in a bubble last year that the Islanders lost that series to Tampa. They're not in a bubble anymore. And this is the last year of the Coliseum. The fans are, coming out of COVID, absolutely rabid. I mean, it is insanity in that building.
I saw the Islander fans at the Met game on Friday night.
Yeah, right, for
with
sure.
Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, no,
it's 33,000, about 30,000 strong, almost a total sellout. And most of the players after the game were talking about how, man, the fan base was almost, I was like, hey, guys, it's almost the same fan base.
Basically.
It's almost the same group of people. And the Met fans are excited about their team, and rightfully so. Unfortunately, one bad inning out of 27 cost them yesterday's game, but they won another series, or they won the series against the San Diego Padres, which is good. But when you think about what it looked like on Friday night at Citi Field,
oh, it was great.
You now know why
Jacob
deGrom is worth twice what he's making right now.
And he's got that opt-out coming up, so he's got that opportunity.
He's worth twice what he's making.
Right. So, Steve Cohen, this is why you own the team in situations like this, to make us not sweat about it. So, good luck with all of that. And then he has another one of these things that's like these scary, you hear it, and you're like, oh, man. Just like when he was put on the IL last time, with the side tenderness and everything else. And now you have this flexor tendonitis that he has. But he's like, no, I'm fine. Totally fine. And then he played catch or long toss the next day. And he said, probably not going to miss a start.
I was watching Gary Apple and Dan Duquette talking about Jacob. He threw a lot of sliders.
And that's why you think?
They were like, they would know better than I do because they're around it every single day. But he did throw more sliders in this game than he had all year. And, slider is it's hard on the elbow. It's just hard on the elbow. And his slider was cranking. I mean, it was unhittable. And they're thinking fastball, and that thing is diving away from right-handers. It was amazing how good that pitch was. So they were talking about it, and it makes sense to me that when you throw an inordinate amount of them, or you tend to lean on that pitch, and you're coming off already an injury, maybe that's the reason why. So maybe that's why he said after the game, I know what my arm feels like, and I know that this is just a little bit of a, probably overworked or whatever, but maybe that's the reason for that.
It's amazing to me that there's been all of these, and I'm knocking on wood like crazy, all these little things these last couple of years with Jacob deGrom, and it hasn't been that big one where he's missed a lot of time. But it's always these little scares. It's crazy.
I got to tell you, if he were on an American League team, he has to be in a lineup. He has to be in a lineup. He's got 5 RBIs. He's given up 4 earned runs.
Yeah.
And he's batting .400.
And the other baseball team in town is borderline unwatchable at this point if you're a Yankee fan. They stink. They're boring. There's no life. Finally, the manager got a little bit testy yesterday because I think that the media has been poking him and prodding him to get some sort of answer out of him. And then yesterday they finally pushed the right button as someone asked the question, are you guys used to losing? Are you comfortable losing? And he goes, what? He goes, absolutely not. He's like, we're not. He said, frickin'. He said, we're not frickin' comfortable losing. And he also said, get the hell out of here with that. And he also said that, our character is going to be tested. So it was for the first time I heard Aaron Boone
going to be tested. It is tested. He's right in the middle of the test.
Well, maybe he said, I don't know. Maybe he said it is being tested. Who the hell knows? But the point is that after every one of these games, generally Aaron Boone's like, oh, we'll be fine. This guy, any guy has a bad performance. Oh, we saw some good things. Well, you're not seeing good things anymore. I mean, you really aren't. There was nothing good yesterday out of that baseball game.
Well, the pitching was bad.
They didn't score any runs either.
Well,
everything was bad.
But they've given up 22 runs in their last 3 games. In their last 18 games, you remember we were talking about the schedule?
Yeah.
And we were going to find out about what we have here as the Yankees, other than, they have the meltdown with the Aroldis Chapman against the Twins. They lose that game. They lose both games against Philly. So they've lost 3 in a row now. They're 8.5 games out of first place. And on top of that, in their last 18 games, 5-13. 5-13, man, for a $208 million team who pretty much has everybody healthy with the exception of Luke Voigt at first base.
It's pathetic. It really is.
Everybody else is healthy.
And this is a pathetic start.
They got they had Aroldis Chapman blow up on him in Minnesota. And before that, going through their own division, they got smacked around a little bit. And now the Phillies smacked them around. I mean, Phillies just hammered them over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if
we were Met fans and the Mets came out of Philadelphia
like that,
we'd be screaming to the high heavens right now.
I mean, and this is just sort of the cherry on top of the way that they have played in recent memory. As you mentioned, the 5-13 record in their last whatever added up. What is that for 18 games?
Yes. You remember I was telling you about the Mets now. Their run here until the beginning of July.
Yeah.
And now they're 2-1 against one of the best teams in baseball. So they've started this little run that they're on now, and they're going to start getting healthy. And now the question is, can they keep it up? Can they keep this level of excitement up that we saw on Friday and Saturday? Yeah. And by the way, Stroman pitched great on Saturday, too.
But I mean, this is what this team has been.
And Taijuan Walker did, too.
Those 3 guys have been spectacular. They really have been. And, hey, the Padres are one of the most exciting teams in baseball, one of the better teams in the National League. You split out there in a 4-game series. You took 2 out of 3 here against them at Citi Field. So that's tremendous. That's
one bad inning.
Yeah.
One bad inning out of 27 innings cost the Mets, one of the 3 games.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.